The alien stood frozen in the corner of the human dwelling her captors had brought her to. As a Xanath warrior, she expected torture interrogation, and eventually death at the hands of these strange bipedal creatures. That was how war worked after. All her people had been raiding human colonies for 3 cycles, now taking resources and occasionally prisoners. Her 4 arms remained bound with strange metallic restraints that even her superior strength could not break. The dwelling was small, rustic by her standards, with curious objects scattered about that served no obvious tactical purpose. Colorful fabrics, soft furnishings, and images of smiling humans adorned the walls. So different from the utilitarian spaces of Xanath vessels, the female human who had brought her here moved cautiously around the space. She was small for a human, with hair the color of Xenoth sunset skies and eyes like the deep waters of her homeworld. The alien observed her captor carefully, analyzing for weaknesses. This human appeared to be alone, which was peculiar. Why would a single human isolate herself with a dangerous enemy, Kayla? That was what the other humans had called this female before departing in their transport vehicle, leaving the alien in her custody. The human approached slowly, holding something in her hands. The alien tensed, preparing for pain, but instead the human offered a bowl of something steaming and aromatic. "There's no poison," she said softly. "I promise." The alien did not understand the words but recognized the gesture. She had not eaten in 2 full rotations. Her pride demanded she refuse, but her body betrayed her. The human carefully held the vessel to her mouth, allowing her to drink. The warm liquid soothed her parched throat, tasted of unfamiliar spices, but was not unpleasant. When she finished, the human called Kayla stepped back, giving her space. The alien noticed the human was injured, a wound on her arm poorly bandaged. Yet she had fed her enemy first. Curious behavior, illogical. The alien could not make sense of it. Night fell. The human secured one of the alien's arms to a sturdy piece of furniture, but left her enough mobility to lie down on a soft pallet arranged on the floor. The alien watched as Kayla checked the windows securing them before retreating to another room. The alien tested her restraint, finding it solid but not painfully tight. Another puzzling choice. In the darkness, the alien contemplated her situation. She was Commander LK 7th of the 3rd Xenoth Strike Fleet. Her battalion had been ambushed during a standard resource acquisition mission on a human mining outpost. She remembered the battle, the explosion that had damaged her exoskeleton, the humans who had surrounded her. Then, darkness, only to awaken here in this strange place. Morning came with golden light filtering through translucent coverings on the windows. The human returned carrying more food, this time solid substances on a flat disc. The alien watched suspiciously as the human demonstrated eating a portion first before offering it. This one is smarter than she appears, the alien thought. Over the next rotation, the human tended to the alien's injuries, cleaning the damaged portions of her exoskeleton and applying a soothing substance that accelerated healing. She spoke continuously in that strange human language. Though the alien understood none of it, the tone was surprisingly gentle. She found herself listening to the rhythms and patterns, trying to discern meaning. Kayla pointed to herself, saying her name, then gestured to the alien with a questioning look. The alien remained silent. Giving her true name would be dishonorable while captive. After several attempts, the human shrugged and said, "Kate." The alien realized this was to be her designation in captivity. A simple sound, the human vocal apparatus could pronounce. On the 3rd rotation, something unexpected happened. A communication device in the dwelling activated with urgent tones. The human answered it, her expression changing to one the alien recognized as distress. She spoke rapidly, occasionally glancing at the alien. The conversation ended, and the human began moving quickly around the dwelling, gathering items into containers. Alien tensed, preparing for transport, assuming reinforcements were coming to take her to a proper detention facility. But instead, the human approached and did something truly shocking. She loosened the restraints on 3 of the aliens' 4 arms, leaving only one secured to prevent immediate escape. Kayla activated a visual display device, positioning it where the alien could see. The images were unmistakable, a Xenoth battlecruiser the alien recognized as belonging to the First Strike Fleet, attacking an unarmed human settlement. The alien watched impassively. This was war after all. But then the images continued showing what happened after the raid. Xenoth commanders executing civilian prisoners without purpose or honor. The alien felt her inner membranes flutter with distress. This was not the way of war as she had been taught. The Xenoth code was clear. Combat was honorable resource acquisition necessary, but unnecessary slaughter was forbidden. Her mandibles clicked in agitation, a sign of emotional distress she could not suppress. More images followed of previous conflicts. Peaceful contact attempts by humans met with immediate aggression from Xenoth forces. The alien began to understand she had been told falsehoods. Her people had not been defending themselves against human expansion. They had been the aggressors all along. The human seemed to sense her distress, kneeling at a safe distance. "You understand?" she asked slowly. "These not lies. Truth." The alien remained outwardly stoic, but her mind raced. Had her entire military career been based on deception? Was the Xenoth High Command violating their most sacred codes of conduct? The evidence before her was difficult to dismiss. When darkness fell again, the human brought more food and tended again to the alien's wounds, which were healing rapidly, thanks to both her species' natural regeneration and the human medicines. Her touch remained clinical but gentle. Something the alien had never experienced from an enemy sleep did not come easily that night. The alien, who now responded internally to Kate, reviewed her military training, her missions. The human images had shown Xenoth ships attacking colonies that, according to her briefings, had been aggressive military outposts. But she had seen no defenses, no weapons emplacements. Civilians had been present in large numbers, including juvenile humans. Could it be true? Had she been fighting not a defensive war, but participating in systematic aggression? If so, her honor was compromised. Her entire existence called into question. On the fourth rotation, Kayla attempted more direct communication. She pointed to objects, saying their names in human language, then waiting for the alien to repeat food, water, sleep, help. The alien remained silent initially, but soon realized that understanding her captor's language might provide strategic advantage. She began to mimic the sounds awkwardly. At first, her mouth parts not designed for human speech. Kayla smiled at her attempts, an expression the alien was beginning to recognize as positive encouragement. Something unfamiliar stirred within her, something beyond tactical calculation. The human showed remarkable patience, correcting pronunciations, demonstrating mouth movements. By the end of the rotation, the alien could produce and understand approximately 20 human words. A limited vocabulary, but a beginning. That night, the communication device activated again. This time, the alien's improved understanding allowed her to grasp fragments of conversation. "They come tomorrow. Take alien military orders." The human ended the communication. Her expression now one the alien interpreted as conflict. She paced the dwelling, muttering to herself occasionally, glancing at her captive, making a decision. The alien realized Kayla approached slowly, hands visible in the gesture the alien now recognized as non-threatening. Sorry," she said slowly, choosing simple words. "They come tomorrow. Take you away. Bad people. Not like me." The alien tilted her head, questioning. "You not bad people," she managed in broken human speech. The human smiled sadly. "Some good, some bad. Like Xenoth, yes." Pointing first to the alien, then to herself. The alien considered this concept, the idea that both species contained variation in behavior and ethics. Such thinking was discouraged among Xenoth warriors. The enemy was simply the enemy. Yet here was evidence to contradict this simplistic view. The night deepened. Kayla continued preparations, gathering supplies into a portable container. The alien watched curiously as she spread out a representation of the surrounding terrain on a flat surface, pointing to their current location, then to a remote area among elevated formations. "Old cabin," there she explained. "No people safe for now." The alien realized with shock that the human intended to release her. Why would this human free a dangerous enemy? Kayla seemed to understand the unspoken question. Not all Xenoth bad, she said slowly. Not all human good, I think you good. The alien felt confusion unlike anything in her military experience. Her training offered no protocol for this situation. The human was violating her own species. Security for what compassion? An alien concept, yet one. The alien was beginning to comprehend through direct experience. The human approached carefully and released the final restraint. The alien stood rubbing her limbs, restoring circulation. She towered over the small human, her natural armor and strength, making her the clearly superior combatant. She could kill this human, easily escape on her own terms, yet she made no aggressive move. Kayla pressed the supplies into the alien's lower arms, then pointed again to the map. No safe place, the alien said. Struggling with human speech tonight safe, the human insisted tomorrow no. The urgency was clear even across species barriers. The alien nodded slowly, understanding dawning. They would come for her tomorrow. The alien moved swiftly through unfamiliar terrain, guided by stars and the navigation device. The human world was chaotic, teeming with life. Unlike the controlled environments of Xenoth ships and colonies, strange creatures called insects buzzed. Around her, scavengers howled in the distance. The air was thick with moisture and organic scents overwhelming her sensory organs. She referred to the map, periodically ensuring her path remained true, heading toward the mountains. The human Kayla had, indicated the alien who now thought of herself as Kate, found the name oddly fitting a simple sound that nonetheless carried identity. She tested it internally. Kate. A new designation for what felt increasingly like a new existence. Dawn approached, the strange blue sky gradually brightening. She needed shelter. Xenoth vision was superior to humans in darkness, but their exoskeletons absorbed heat rapidly in direct sunlight, making daylight movement inefficient. She located a dense cluster of vegetation near a water source and concealed herself. The covering vegetation provided adequate shade, while allowing her to maintain visual awareness of her surroundings. Kate examined the supplies Kayla had provided, water containers, nutrient packages, designed for human consumption. But her preliminary analysis suggested most would be compatible with Xenoth biology. A small medical kit, a device for starting fire, and most surprisingly, a communication unit primitive by Xenoth standards but functional. She studied it carefully, discovering it was preset to a single frequency. She considered activating it, then decided against it. Too risky. She would wait until darkness fell again, conserve energy, and continue toward the mountain refuge. Sleep came. Despite her vigilance, the stress of recent events and healing injuries demanding recovery, she awoke to unfamiliar sounds movement in the underbrush. Her sensory appendages detected multiple organisms approaching. Her warrior training activated instantly. She gathered her supplies and scaled the nearest tall vegetation, concealing herself among the upper branches. The human word came to her mind. Tree. That was what this living structure was called. Below, 3 humans in military attire emerged into the clearing. They carried weapons, scanning devices. Their movements were disciplined, purposeful. The search party Kayla had warned her about, they were tracking her. Keep moving. She's headed toward the North Ridge. One human said, the transponder signal is faint. But present Kate felt cold realization wash over her. The restraints. They must have contained tracking technology, so simple yet effective. She had underestimated human cunning. When the humans departed, she descended carefully, examining her exoskeleton for foreign objects, finding nothing obvious. She reasoned the nanoscale transponder must have been injected during her unconsciousness. She had limited options. She could not remove it without specialized equipment. But perhaps Kate moved to the water source, submerging completely, allowing the current to flow over her exoskeleton. She remained underwater for extended duration. Her species adapted for limited aquatic activity. The transponder would be water-resistant, certainly, but might the natural minerals in the flowing water create interference? When she emerged, she gathered her supplies and changed direction, heading west instead of north. If the tracking signal was already faint, perhaps natural interference combined with misdirection would be sufficient. She traveled through the day despite the discomfort, the urgency of evasion outweighing physical limitation. As dusk approached, she found herself in different terrain, rocky with sparse vegetation but offering more places to conceal herself. She located a small cave-like formation and established a temporary position. Only then did she examine the communication device again. The single programmed frequency remained. With no other options, Kate activated it, keeping volume minimal silence extended. Then a voice soft familiar. "Kayla, Kate, you safe?" question. The alien considered her response. The human had freed her, had given her supplies. Was it a complex trap or genuine assistance? Her warrior training suggested caution, but something else, a new instinct perhaps, suggested trust tracked. She responded, her human speech halting but understandable. "They follow." A pause, then Kayla's voice again. "Urgent." "Expected military placed tracker during capture." "Not me. Not my people. Different group." "They want weapon." Kate processed this information. Weapon. The humans viewed her as technology to be acquired, not merely an enemy combatant to be interrogated. This aligned with Xenoth intelligence about human military interests. The communication continued, Kayla providing guidance on disabling the tracking device. It would require materials the alien could find in her environment, certain mineral compositions that would disrupt the signal pattern temporarily. Combined with continued movement, it might allow her to reach the mountain shelter before recapture. "Listen carefully," Kayla instructed, then provided detailed instructions. When the communication ended, Kate gathered what she needed, following Kayla's directions precisely. The process was uncomfortable, requiring application of acidic plant extracts to her lower left appendage where the tracker had most likely been injected. The burning sensation suggested effectiveness. She continued her journey through the night, the terrain becoming increasingly vertical. The navigation device indicated she was approaching her destination. The cabin appeared as dawn broke across the horizon, a simple structure constructed of local materials, partially concealed by surrounding vegetation. Its positioning suggested defensive considerations, excellent visibility of approaching threats, minimal exposure to aerial observation. Kate approached cautiously, scanning for additional humans or security measures. Finding none, she entered. The interior was basic but sufficient: a sleeping surface, food preservation unit, water collection system, communications equipment more sophisticated than the handheld device, and most importantly, no obvious surveillance technology. She secured the perimeter, then allowed herself to rest properly for the first time since escape. The questions that had begun in Kayla's dwelling continued to circulate in her mind. Why had the human helped her? What were these differences between human factions? Kayla had implied. And most troubling, what had the visual evidence revealed about Xenoth military actions? Over the next 5 rotations, Kate established a survival routine. She cataloged available resources, improved the shelter's defensive capabilities, and studied the communications equipment, which contained basic language instruction programs. She dedicated time each cycle to learning more human language, finding the process challenging but increasingly rewarding. On the 6th rotation, the handheld communicator activated. Kayla here. Safe to talk question. Yes, safe. The alien responded, her pronunciation improved. Good news, Kayla continued. Military search moved to eastern sector. You successfully evaded. Stay hidden, Kate acknowledged, then asked the question that had dominated her thoughts. Why help me? Question. A long pause followed. Kate feared the communication had ended. Then Kayla's voice softer. War wrong, she said simply. High command lies both sides. Many humans want peace. Many Xenoth too. I think perhaps you too? Question. The alien considered this. It aligned with the disturbing evidence she had seen: the civilian massacres, the unprovoked attacks. The possibility that the conflict itself was based on deception troubled her deeply. War was honorable when necessary, but honor required truth. Soldier Kate said, struggling to express complex concepts with limited vocabulary. I follow orders. I understand, Kayla replied, but orders wrong question. You obey question. This struck at the core of Xenoth military philosophy. Obedience was absolute. Yet their ancient codes contained provisions for refusing dishonorable commands, commands that violated the warrior ethic. If what she had seen was true, need more information, Kate finally responded. Truth important. The communication ended with Kayla's promise to provide more evidence when safe. Kate returned to her routine, but with renewed purpose. She was no longer merely surviving. She was investigating, questioning, seeking truth. On the 15th rotation, Kate detected an approaching vehicle. The security measures she'd established provided early warning. She prepared for conflict, but recognition came instead. The vehicle matched the one Kayla had used. Two humans emerged, Kayla and an older female with white hair. Kate observed from concealment as they approached the cabin carrying supplies. They made no attempt to hide their presence. Kate, this is Dr. Helen Mason. Kayla called out. We come with information. No danger, I promise. The alien revealed herself, maintaining safe distance. Her physical condition had improved significantly during her time in hiding. Her exoskeleton had completed its healing cycle. Her strength had returned. She could easily overcome two unarmed humans if necessary, but curiosity and something unfamiliar, trust perhaps, kept her weapon sheathed. The older human studied her with evident fascination. I'm a xenobiologist. She explained, speaking slowly. I study different species, and I work with a peace coalition. Kayla began unloading supplies, including data storage devices. I brought proof, she said. All the things I showed you before, and more information from both sides. Over the next rotation, the three established an uneasy collaboration. The humans shared information. Kate had never been permitted to access communications between Xenoth High Command, revealing strategic deceptions, documents showing human peace proposals rejected without consideration by Xenoth leadership, most disturbing evidence of biological weapons development prohibited by Xenoth ethical codes for generations. 20 rotations had passed since Kate made her decision to join the resistance. Her days now followed a dangerous pattern. She moved between hidden locations carrying critical information, between isolated groups of Xenoth defectors and human allies. Her warrior training, once used for conquest, now served a different purpose, keeping her alive while she operated in the shadows between two worlds. The human resistance had provided her with modified identity markers that masked her commander status, allowing her limited movement through less secure areas. She had adapted her appearance, wearing fabricated damage markers on her exoskeleton to appear as a lower caste worker. The deception was dishonorable by traditional standards, but Kate had come to understand that true honor sometimes required difficult choices. Today she waited at the arranged meeting point, an abandoned research facility on the border territory between human and Xenoth-controlled space. Her contact was late, which triggered warning indicators in her tactical assessment. Something was wrong. Kate moved to a defensive position, scanning the approaches with heightened awareness. A transport vehicle appeared, moving erratically, damaged. She recognized the markings, camouflaged but visible to those who knew what to look for. A resistance vehicle. The transport stopped. 3 humans emerged, supporting between them a wounded Xenoth. The pattern of injuries was consistent with military interrogation techniques. Kate moved quickly to assist Commander. The injured Xenoth managed to communicate in their native clicking language. They found our communication hub, captured many. Kate helped move the injured defector into the facility. Helen was waiting inside, medical supplies ready. Her skills with Xenoth physiology had improved dramatically over the past cycles, though the differences between species still created challenges. While Helen worked, Kate debriefed the survivors. The news was grim. The resistance network had been compromised. Multiple safe locations were now exposed. Teams had been captured, including senior Xenoth defectors. Their secure communication channels were no longer reliable. We extracted what data we could. One human explained, activating a portable display. But much was lost. Kate examined the recovered information. tactical assessments, patrol schedules, and most critically evidence of increased production at facilities previously identified as biological weapons development centers. High Command is accelerating their timeline, she concluded. The weapon deployment date has moved forward. This aligned with intelligence gathered from other sources. The military hardliners were losing control of the narrative among the Xenoth population. Questions were spreading. Despite information restrictions, more warriors were noticing discrepancies. More civilians were protesting resource allocations. The corrupt leadership was becoming desperate. We need to warn the border colonies, Helen said. These biological agents specifically target human physiology. They have no defense. Kate considered their limited options. Their communication network was compromised. Their personnel scattered or captured. Standard channels would be monitored. But perhaps I can deliver warning personally, she said finally. There is a way using old warrior pathways. Trails known only to Commander Cast Kayla, who had remained silent during the exchange, looked up sharply. That means crossing active battle zones, she protested. Multiple Xenoth checkpoints. Kate acknowledged this with a gesture. Movement of her upper right appendage indicating acceptance of risk. High risk, high reward. As humans say, she replied, her grasp of idiomatic language having improved. Significantly, the small resistance group discussed the plan, refining details. Kate would move through restricted territories, using her knowledge of Xenoth patrol patterns and commander access codes. Most were likely changed, but some older emergency systems would remain unchanged due to tradition. She would carry critical data about the biological weapons, including potential countermeasures developed by Helen and her scientific team. If successful, she could reach the human border colonies before the weapon deployment, providing time for evacuation or defense preparation. The risk of capture was significant. The consequence of failure would be catastrophic for both Kate personally and the colonies targeted. After preparations were complete, Kate found herself alone with Kayla, the human who had shown her mercy, who had set in motion this transformation, the human who had become something unexpected. A friend. Kayla handed her a small object, a simple piece of carved wood shaped into a spiral. You once asked why I helped you, she said softly. Do you remember? Kate nodded. The question had been fundamental to her changing perspective. The human turned the wooden spiral in her fingers. For this, she explained, life turns in cycles, changes, grows. We meet, we learn, we change each other. That is how peace happens. Not with weapons or treaties, but with moments of choice. Like when I found you. Like when you chose to listen. Kate carefully took the spiral, examining the craftsmanship. The simplicity and elegance of it reminded her of ancient Xenoth art from before the militarization of their culture, before expansion became their driving purpose. She secured the object in a protected compartment of her equipment. I return, she promised, using the same simple phrase she had offered when first leaving Kayla's dwelling. Though now her language skills could have produced more complex assurances, she chose these words deliberately. A connection to where their journey together had begun. The mission began at nightfall. Kate moved through territories that had once been under her command. Now she traversed them as an infiltrator. She navigated by memory and star position, avoiding main transport routes and settlements. The biological adaptations that made her species formidable. Warriors served her well now. Enhanced vision for darkness. Exoskeletal plating that minimized thermal signatures. Efficient movement requiring minimal rest. The first checkpoint appeared on the second night. A standard security installation, Xenoth guards following predictable protocols. She observed their patterns, noting the command signals displayed. The access codes had indeed been changed, but the signal pattern itself followed traditional structures. A flaw, insecurity born of cultural rigidity. Kate modified her approach, bypassing the checkpoint through maintenance tunnels. Her commander training had included knowledge of infrastructure typically restricted from lower ranks. The tunnels were uncomfortable, designed for maintenance drones, not warrior caste, but navigable. By the fourth night, she had crossed into heavily contested territory. Here both Xenoth and human forces maintained active presence. their conflict creating chaos that provided both cover and danger. Combat could erupt unpredictably. Patrols were frequent but disorganized. Kate used this inconsistency to her advantage, moving during engagement periods when attention focused elsewhere. She encountered a human patrol near dawn. Outmatched by superior numbers, she concealed herself in damaged infrastructure, holding perfectly still as they passed meters from her position. Their scanning equipment detected her presence, but the readings were confused by surrounding metallic debris, a narrow escape. The border region appeared on the sixth night, a transitional zone where authority remained unclear. Neither species maintaining full control, Kate activated her emergency transmitter broadcasting on the frequency Helen had provided, identifying herself with the resistance recognition code. Hours passed. Kate maintained position, conserving energy. The response when it came was not what she expected. A single human approaching openly unarmed despite the danger. The human wore scientific insignia, not military. The human approached to safe communication distance, then spoke. "My name is Megan. I've been expecting you." Kate remained cautious, explaining her mission. The warning she carried the critical time frame. The human listened without interruption, then responded with unexpected information. "We know," she said, "the biological weapon. Their fleet is already moving. A Xenoth commander warned us." Kate processed this information. Another defector, perhaps someone higher in command than herself, had already delivered the warning. But then why had the resistance not known? Their information network should have shared such critical intelligence unless realization crystallized. Unless the information channels were more compromised than they had understood. Unless the corruption within both human and Xenoth command structures extended further than they had discovered. "Who warned you?" Kate asked, require name and battalion. The human hesitated, then responded, "Commander Vrax of the 7th. Fleet." Kate felt her inner membranes contract with shock. Vrax was no defector. He was among the most dedicated of the military hardliners. A primary architect of the biological weapons program, according to Resistance intelligence. His warning could only be a trap, she concluded aloud, stepping back. "They know I come. They allow warning to capture more defectors." Megan's expression changed from neutral to concerned. "Your resistance has been infiltrated," she confirmed. "Not by Xenoth, but by humans, military, faction that wants weapon deployment." This revelation shifted everything Kate had understood about the conflict. The corruption, the deception extended to human leadership as well. Some human military wanted the biological attack to proceed, perhaps to justify massive retaliation, perhaps to eliminate Xenoth populations entirely. Kate made a rapid tactical assessment. The border colonies remained at risk. The warning was still needed, but the established resistance channels could not be trusted. A new approach was required. "Take me to colony leaders," she instructed the human directly. "No military." The colony of New Haven appeared on the horizon, its dome structures gleaming in the morning light. Kate and her mixed team had traveled for 8 rotations, facing dangers that had tested their resolve and cohesion. They had navigated through active combat zones, evaded military patrols from both species, and survived an ambush that had claimed one of their Xenoth scientists. Their remaining group, 2 humans, 2 Xenoth, stood at the edge of the settlement boundary, exhausted but determined. This colony represented their best hope for widespread distribution of the countermeasure. New Haven maintained trade connections with 17 other human settlements. Its communication array could reach the entire border region. Its leadership had shown independence from central military command in past crisis situations. Kate assessed their approach options. The main entrance would require identification. The humans in their group could enter, but the Xenoth would be immediately detained or killed. Alternative access existed: maintenance tunnels similar to those she had used to bypass checkpoints in Xenoth territory. The colony schematics provided by the Resistance showed 3 potential entry points. Lily, the senior human scientist, studied the security scan readings. "The northern maintenance access shows minimal monitoring," she observed. "Designed for drone maintenance, rarely used by personnel." Their plan formed quickly. The 2 humans would enter through regular channels, establishing legitimate presence, while Kate and the remaining Xenoth scientist would infiltrate through the maintenance access. Once inside, they would reconnect at a predetermined location, a research facility operated by scientists sympathetic to their cause. The plan proceeded with unexpected ease. The humans passed through security with prepared identification. The Xenoth infiltration encountered no resistance. Their reunion occurred without incident. Their contact, Dr. Eleanor Wright, greeted them with cautious optimism. "We received your encoded transmission," she explained, leading them to a secure laboratory. "The countermeasure formula has been reviewed by our team. The approach is sound, but implementation will be challenging." Kate examined the laboratory, equipment recognizing configurations similar to Xenoth medical facilities despite aesthetic differences. Function dictated form across species boundaries, a principle that suggested deeper commonalities. "The challenge remains distribution," Eleanor continued. "We can produce sufficient countermeasure for New Haven, but reaching all colonies before weapon deployment requires network access. Military controls all official channels." The Xenoth scientist accompanying Kate stepped forward. "I am Nex, of the Biological Sciences Division," she introduced herself. "Our research team believes atmospheric dispersal remains viable. Modification of existing environmental systems could deliver countermeasure to 90% of colony inhabitants." Eleanor considered this atmospheric systems are restricted access. She noted military authorization required. Kate recalled the security protocols she had studied during mission preparation. The human military, like the Xenoth, utilized authorization patterns. Codes changed, but access points remained consistent by necessity. Retrofitting security across all systems proved impractical even for military bureaucracy. Some legacy systems would maintain traditional access vulnerabilities. "I can provide access," she stated. With assistance, the scientific team mobilized with remarkable efficiency, humans and Xenoth working in complementary patterns, the humans translating complex biochemistry into production protocols, the Xenoth modifying delivery systems for compatibility with human technology. Kate and Eleanor focused on security access, developing approach strategies for the Environmental Control Center. Night fell. The colony entered reduced activity cycle. The operation began. Kate moved through maintenance corridors. Eleanor beside her, the human providing guidance through unfamiliar architecture. Their destination lay 3 levels below primary habitation. The Environmental Regulation Hub. 2 guards monitored the entrance standard security, not specialized forces. Kate observed their patterns, noting rotation schedules and communication protocols. Their tactical training, enhanced by resistance experience, allowed her to identify vulnerabilities. The guards followed procedures designed to prevent casual intrusion, not coordinated infiltration by experienced operators. Eleanor created a diversion, activating maintenance alerts in adjacent sections. The guards responded. According to protocol, 1 remaining at Post 1, investigating. Kate moved during the momentary reduction in security, her enhanced strength and speed allowing silent neutralization of the remaining guard. A pressure point technique rather than lethal force. Unconscious, not dead. An important distinction for what this mission represented. Inside, Eleanor worked quickly, interfacing with control systems. "This is where we diverge from plan," she said softly. "Military monitoring more extensive than expected. Direct access impossible." Kate assessed alternatives. Communication systems remained compromised. Direct atmospheric dispersal blocked. But the colony operated as a connected organism. Multiple systems integration provided alternative pathways. Water distribution. She suggested shares filtration with atmospheric systems, lower security priority. Eleanor's expression shifted to recognition. Yes, she confirmed, rapidly adjusting their approach. The purification process, similar chemical delivery mechanisms already in place, they modified their countermeasure, adjusting concentration for water-based rather than atmospheric dispersal. The process required precision. The dosage recalculation complex, but manageable. Working together, human scientific methodology and Xenoth biological expertise complementing each other as they completed preparations. Security alarms activated throughout the facility. Their intrusion discovered Kate moved to defensive position, securing the entrance while Eleanor finalized deployment. "They found us," she reported the countermeasure. "Needs 3 minutes for complete distribution." Kate checked available weapons. Minimal effectiveness against military response. She activated her communication device, contacting Lily at the laboratory. "Warn others," she instructed. "Prepare evacuation security." Forces approached coordinates displayed on monitoring systems. Their movement pattern suggested standard response protocols, not specialized containment. Possible advantage. The corruption within human military had not yet identified their specific threat. Eleanor completed the final sequence. The countermeasure entering water distribution systems throughout the colony. Confirmation signals indicated successful integration. 3 minutes until complete colony saturation. 3 minutes they needed to defend. The first security team breached outer perimeter. Kate engaged, minimizing lethal force, her combat training providing advantage against standard security personnel, her exoskeletal strength allowing defensive positioning of equipment, creating barriers. The human security forces hesitated, confronted with Xenoth opponent. Their training anticipated different tactics. Eleanor worked furiously at control systems. "They're attempting remote override," she warned. Blocking countermeasure distribution. Kate assessed priorities. The physical defenders she could manage. The system's intrusion required different expertise. "Stay focused," she instructed Eleanor. 2 minutes remaining. The security forces regrouped. Adopted containment formation. Kate recognized the approach pattern: military, not standard security. The corruption had representation within colony forces. Lethal protocols likely authorized. She adjusted her tactical response accordingly. The attack came from multiple vectors simultaneously. Coordinated. Professional. Kate defended, maintaining position but recognizing the inevitable. Without reinforcement, their position would be overwhelmed before distribution completed. The mission parameters accepted this possibility. Her personal survival secondary. To objective, 1 minute remaining. A new alarm sounded, different pattern. Eleanor looked up, expression shifting to concern. "Atmospheric contamination alert," she explained. "They're deploying the weapon here." Now, the realization crystallized with perfect clarity. The corrupt military faction had accelerated deployment. Recognizing resistance activity, they had initiated contingency protocols. New Haven would serve as demonstration. The biological weapon released within controlled environment. Perfect testing conditions. Kate made decision based on new information. Priority shifted from defense to expansion. Countermeasure required colony-wide distribution immediately. No gradual process acceptable. "There is way," she told Eleanor. "Emergency flooding protocols." Eleanor understood immediately. The colony maintained emergency systems for fire suppression, contamination response, massive water distribution capability, designed for crisis scenarios. Activation required highest authorization, manual override, possible only from central control. Located 2 levels above their position, Kate secured remaining countermeasure canisters to her equipment. The mission had evolved. The objective remained. Their approach required adjustment. "I create diversion," she told Eleanor. "You reach central control. Activate emergency systems," the human scientist protested. "The security forces." "Kate, they will kill you." Kate acknowledged this possibility with warrior acceptance. "Some battles cannot be won," she responded. "Some sacrifices necessary." Soldier understands this. Eleanor's expression reflected conflict, then resolution. "Be careful," she said, then added something unexpected. "Come back." The neutral station hung in space between territories neither human nor Xenoth controlled. Constructed. During earlier, more optimistic diplomatic efforts, it had remained largely unused during escalating hostilities. Now it represented final hope, floating sanctuary where possibility of peace might be explored. The station rotated slowly, artificial gravity, maintaining comfortable environment for multiple species, its design intentionally incorporating elements familiar to both humans and Zenith neutral ground in architecture as well as location. Kate stood at observation portal watching approaching vessels. Military ships from both species maintaining suspicious distance from each other. Diplomatic shuttles converging on station. Delegations arriving representatives from various factions. Most reluctant participants compelled by growing crisis. Few true believers in peace. Their presence testament to desperation, not optimism. The events at New Haven had triggered cascading. Revelations corrupt military leaders exposed on both sides. Biological weapon deployment thwarted but intentions revealed. Evidence of conspiracy circulating through civilian networks. Military authority questioned increasingly, populations demanding accountability. The spiral of conflict momentarily interrupted, not stopped but paused. Opportunity created through chaos. Kayla appeared beside her, joining silent observation. The human looked tired, stress evident in physical indicators. Their journey, together spanning remarkable transformation, both individuals changed by experience, both species standing at crossroads, hard to believe we hear. Kayla said quietly, everything started with simple choice, not killing enemy. Kate acknowledged this truth. With gesture, the small moments creating large consequences. Individual choices affecting species' destiny. The complexity of existence reduced to simple binary decisions in critical moments. Life or death. Trust or fear. Connection or isolation. Peace delegation had formed organically, growing from resistance networks. Scientists led initial efforts, their collaboration already established. Political representatives followed, reluctant but responding to popular pressure. Military participation remained limited. Suspicious command structures on both sides compromised trust, damaged beyond easy repair. The delegation represented new approach, coalition rather than hierarchy, collaborative rather than authoritarian. Kate served multiple roles, former Zenith commander providing military insight, defector offering evidence of corruption, resistance operative connecting disparate groups, her unique position bridging divisions within and between species, her personal journey from enemy to ally mirroring larger potential transformation. The diplomatic chambers filled gradually, representatives positioning themselves according to species alliance faction, the physical arrangement revealing psychological landscape, trust-limited communication, strained potential for failure. Significant elder scientist Tisla called assembly to order, her authority respected across divisions, her age and accomplishment transcending political considerations. The formal proceedings began, traditional protocols, observed statements recorded, evidence presented, grievances acknowledged. The diplomatic dance familiar, ritualistic, its forms providing structure for difficult conversations. Kate observed proceedings with warrior assessment, identifying strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, threats. The humans displayed greater emotional variation during discussions, their expressions revealing internal states, their language containing nuance difficult to translate. The Zenith maintained traditional stoicism, their communication, precise technical, their physical positioning reflecting hierarchical thinking. Both approaches containing advantages, disadvantages, both containing potential for misunderstanding. Days passed, discussions continuing. Technical working. Groups formed, scientific collaboration expanding, military representatives engaging cautiously. Progress occurring gradually, inconsistently. 2 steps forward, 1 step back. The process itself representing victory. Small achievements accumulating. Relationships forming across species boundaries. Kate found herself increasingly involved in military discussions. Her experience as commander providing credibility. Her defection initially viewed as dishonor, gradually reframed as courage. Her perspective, valued precisely because it transcended traditional boundaries. During recess period, Kayla approached sharing observation. The military representatives are softening, she noted, especially younger officers, those who have seen combat directly. Kate had noticed this pattern. Those with theoretical knowledge of war remained rigid. Those who had experienced its reality showed greater flexibility. The phenomenon consistent across species. Direct experience, creating empathy. Shared suffering. Building. Connection basis for understanding. I have theory, Kate responded. Conflict between species less significant than conflict within species. Between those who seek power through fear and those who seek connection through understanding. Kayla considered. This leadership corrupted on both sides, she agreed. Using hatred of other to maintain control, preventing cooperation that might reveal similarities. Their conversation interrupted as alarms activated throughout station security protocols engaging. Emergency response initiated. Kate accessed information channels identifying threat. Unauthorized vessels approaching, military signatures, not diplomatic. Both human and Xenoth designations. The hardliners' military faction making final desperate attempt to destroy peace process station defenses, activated minimal effectiveness against military vessels. Evacuation protocols initiated, diplomatic personnel moving toward secure areas. The peace delegation threatened physically as well as conceptually. The corruption fighting to maintain power using familiar tools. Violence, fear, destruction. Kate moved with tactical precision. Security training directing response, locating weaknesses in station design, identifying defensive options. Her priority, protecting, delegation. Preserving possibility of peace. Her personal survival, secondary consideration. The mission parameters accepted by warrior mentality. Kayla coordinated civilian response. Her medical training applicable to crisis. Her knowledge of human psychology valuable in managing panic. Her presence steadying influence amid chaos. Their partnership functioning efficiently, complementary skills, unified purpose. The attack unfolded according to predictable patterns. Disabling critical systems. Communication. Propulsion, life support. The attacker's strategy clear. Eliminate peace delegation. Create incident triggering renewed hostilities. Maintain power through continued conflict. Kate gathered delegation representatives in central chamber. The most defensible. Location. Emergency systems providing temporary life support. Barricades established, security protocols engaged. Limited weapons distributed to those with training. Her combat experience transforming diplomatic venue into defensive position. The attackers breached outer security, moving methodically toward central chamber. Their coordination indicating joint operation. Humans and Xenoth military working together. Ironic alliance seeking to prevent wider cooperation. The corruption transcending species, boundaries. The true enemy revealing itself. Kate addressed assembled delegation representatives. Their safety compromised, their mission threatened, their purpose more critical than ever. This attack proves truth, she stated. Both species corrupted by same disease, power without accountability, leaders without honor. They fear peace more than war. They fear understanding more than hatred. They fear you more than each other. The delegation representatives, human and Xenoth, regarded each other with new perspective. Common danger creating common cause. Their differences significant, but their shared predicament more immediate. The possibility of cooperation suddenly concrete, practical, necessary. The attackers reached final security barrier. Their weapons superior. Their numbers advantage overwhelming. The defensive position ultimately unsustainable. Kate recognized tactical reality, sacrifice required, victory possible only through unexpected approach. She accessed emergency systems identifying self-destruct protocols, not to use but to understand station architecture, storage facilities, potential resources, available options limited but existing. The warrior mind finding opportunity within constraints. Kate formulated strategy. Communication. Systems remained partially functional. Internal network operational, limited transmission capacity. The station itself became weapon, not through destruction, but through revelation. Elder Tisla understood immediately, joining strategic planning. Accessing scientific database, broadcasting evidence of conspiracy, recording delegation proceedings, transmitting throughout both territories. The truth deployed as countermeasure against corruption. The knowledge dispersed beyond ability to contain. The attackers Breached final barrier. Combat engaged Kate, leading defense, buying time for transmission completion. Her warrior skills fully employed. Protection, not destruction, her purpose. The battle desperate, confined, brutal injuries mounting on both sides, and outcome determined not by force but by speed. Information versus suppression. Knowledge versus ignorance. Truth versus deception transmission. Completed confirmation received. Multiple networks broadcasting evidence. Civilian communication systems sharing. Information military channels compromised, corruption exposed publicly irrevocably. The mission accomplished regardless of immediate tactical outcome.